how is it that we are a first world country, but people are stealing food?
I think they should have boats out there, waiting to pick people up, help them graciously onto the boats, and then sail back to France and drop them off on the beach. You might live in hope, I live in reality.
Oh my god.
Is immigration good for the country, or is it going to destroy everything? I'm Izzy.
And I'm Garcia, and welcome to Informally Informed. So, today we're going to be talking about immigration. I have a lot of feelings on immigration, but mostly just, from information that I got from the internet, like a regular millennial. So I only know so much. So what I did was break it down into different types of immigration, right? Okay. So let's talk about do you know what? I wrote EU immigration down because I was like, well, immigration from the EU is a hot topic issue. But is it? Is it though? Because the Ukrainians came here and they were like given loads of stuff by the government. And
yeah, but that was a whole thing. That was a political move on the government's part.
Okay, so this now with the migrant boats is what? Because it's making the government look stupid because they can't figure anything out.
That's true, but the government is not going to...
stupid? Oh, sorry, go on.
That as well. The government's not going to be here come 2 weeks' time anyway.
The government is still going to be there. It's just going to be a different...
The Tory government is not going to be there.
Yeah, I guess.
And the whole Rwanda bill's going to get scrapped. And I'm not entirely sure what the Labour plan is.
But I'm just worried about the sheer amount of money that they're just wasting on all these different plans. I mean, the summer's here. I've not heard anything about no migrant boats this summer. But last summer, it took over the world. Took over Europe.
Yes, but the mainstream news cycle's been focused on other things like the up-and-coming election. Football.
Euro 2024.
Loads of other stuff.
And England, but let's be honest.
Things come in and out of the news all the time, but they're continuously there. Things don't vanish from happening just because we're not hearing about it.
Yes, but at least I think I'd see it somewhere on the internet, and I just haven't. So I'm not saying it's dried up or it's stopped or anything like that, but this is now part of everybody's manifestos. Everybody's mentioned immigration.
Yeah, but they're not specifically focusing on... A lot of people aren't specifically focusing on the boats.
True.
Focusing on legal immigration, which is by far a bigger problem than illegal immigration.
I'm gonna disagree. I disagree. Because I think in this country, legal immigration is also part of the problem.
That's what I just said.
I thought you said illegal immigration.
No, legal immigration is by far worse than illegal immigration.
Yeah, I mean... I'm not trying to be funny, but this is a fucking island and we're surrounded by the channel, the sea, all sorts of seas, North Sea, Irish Sea, Channel. Where are they going? Because this is not exactly the best holiday destination. If it was me and I was going to choose put me on a boat away from Britain. Put me towards the sun. Send me towards the Med.
Yeah, I hear you.
And then they come here to this depressing country and then it's like, well... what they're going to do when they're here, because it's then the taxpayers that are just funding.
Are we talking about the legals or the illegals?
I'm talking about the illegals. The legals, they're their own problem, because, I mean, I'm an immigrant, first generation, but we did it the legal way. And the thing is, we didn't also bring our cousins, aunts, uncles, father's dog with us.
And 50% of all the people the Tories let in last year, out of 1.4 million, were dependents. So they're not contributing to the society, they're not paying taxes, they're dependents.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about children. I'm talking about people's spouses who are here, and then they're here for God knows how long. They have to sign on through the immigration register, go to their local town hall and sign on once a week or once a month or something like that, but they cannot work. So I guess my issue is around, well, what are they doing? What are they doing with their time? And then the thing is, it's not even like, I would honestly say that this is not all the immigration, the people that are migrating. This is not all their issue. The British system is so inefficient. They just waste so much money. And I just think, how is it that we are a first world country, but people are stealing food? And then people want to immigrate here for what reason? to steal food too?
Yeah. Not all cultures are created equal, number one.
Oh, obviously.
And number two, I mean, it's all well and good sitting here and complaining in a first world society about how
Of course
shit
I
the
am.
country
I
is.
grew up in Britain.
But the world elsewhere, it's a lot shitter.
I'm aware. As a person that travels to a lot of places in the world, I'm aware.
The thing that I have a problem with regards to immigration is obviously illegal immigration needs to be stopped. But people are focusing too much on the illegal immigration when what we should be focusing on is the legal immigration. Like I said, 50% of all visas, 1.4 million, 2.5 million last 2 years alone. That's ridiculous. That's anyway, 50% of them will come over on dependent visas, so they don't even have a right to work, and that's not including the university students and etc. So the number of people, realistically, that probably have come on working visas is probably closer to 25%. That's a ridiculous. And bearing in mind as well, in 1997 with the whole Tony Blair thing, 30,000 people a year was considered a lot, and now people are saying 300,000 a year is considered not enough. Like like the way the Overton window has shifted on this issue is insane, and it's become standardised and normal. So if you then turn around and go, well, actually, 30,000 is a good number, or is still on the high side, you're the one that comes across like a radical.
Yeah, but we haven't even touched in on the fact that Britain is a Commonwealth. Okay. Britain's got the Commonwealth. Britain, the Commonwealth of Nations, synonymous, right? Immigrating from one of these Commonwealth countries to Britain is a slog. Why then should... This is the issue that I have, is like people, if you say anything about immigration, you say the wrong things because it's so easy to go into the wrong things. You're labelled as some sort of ist. Pick one. But we need to be able to look at this with a wide open lens and say, well, we accepted that war-torn Ukraine, it was acceptable for people to come here, the government would pay and all the rest of it. But war-torn Sudan, it's not acceptable. All of these places are also going through war, but it's not acceptable. So I guess I'm worried about immigration in this country, but I'm worried about it in terms of more along the lines of people migrating outwards, as opposed to, because it's not like we've got a lack of jobs.
I think that if we stop people migrating inwards, people will naturally want to stop migrating outwards. And the reason for that is because, I mean, let's face it, mass immigration, as I see it, is the number one root cause of all the shit that's going on in this country. Whether it's not enough money for the services, whether it's the NHS falling apart and not being able to get GP appointments, whether it's the increase in house prices, the fact that rent has gone up 20 to 30% in the last 2 years alone, the fact that the traffic's really bad now, the fact that they're now having to build on the green belt, that we're losing our countryside, the fact that we're seeing more flooding now as a result of the fact that there's more concrete as opposed to countryside. But all of these issues.
Yeah, but you can't. I understand that and I hear you, but you're glossing over some of the issues.
The country's shit, so people want to leave. So the point I'm saying is, if we make the country better, people are going to want to more like, I don't have magic wand, I can't fix the weather. Some people are still going to want to leave. But if we make the country a better place to live, then people will more likely to encourage people to stay. And the best way to increase the standard of living, what with inflation, what with all this, or with the fact that everybody seems to be getting poor in this country, the best way to fix all of the issues is to end mass immigration.
I agree. I do agree. Then I do also think that we need to rebudget. I mean, I don't want to go off topic here, but we also need to rebudget generally NHS budget.
Oh yeah,
it's not that there's not enough money; it's that it's spent unwisely.
Yeah,
and then what I was going to say about some of the stuff, the building homes, the home situation, the green belt. Yes, migration or immigration obviously puts up the need for housing, right? But also people are living longer. I say we start murdering them. No, I'm joking. I just think that people are living longer. The birth rates aren't going up. And people, even when they're old, they still need somewhere to live. We haven't got to the point in life yet where we just start kicking out the olds. So, we got to put them somewhere. They still have their houses. I say it like I'm plotting their demise, but you know what I mean? They still have their homes. The people of this... if you look at that...
So are you saying that we should be building on the green belt? What are you saying?
I'm saying that we shouldn't. I'm saying that we need to figure out better ways in which to house people.
Like brownfield sites.
But then here's my question then. If there are so many people leaving because this country is experiencing a brain drain, right? And there's all these people coming in, why is there still no housing? Because there seems to be no balancing it out.
Because the net migration is so large. You only, last time I checked, I mean, don't quote me on this, obviously.
I'm quoting you on it.
I think it's about 500,000 people leave or something.
Well, as Izzy just said, I quote, 500,000 people a year leave.
Between 300,000 and 500,000.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean.
I think, someone along those lines.
And plus it's all the young
net
people.
The net migration is huge.
It's only young people, really, that migrating out. Doctors, nurses, professionals, young professionals, the brain drain. So, but anyway, let's get back to
And you know what? I think they should, if you're getting an NHS bursary, it should be compulsory that you work in the NHS if you're getting free education for 2 to 3 years afterwards. And if you decide not to do that, or if you decide to go abroad within that time period, you have to pay something towards your tuition fees. I think that's fair enough.
I also think that that's fair enough. But I also think that if you're here and you're working in this sector, that you shouldn't have to pay back the sheer amount of fees. The education in this country has gone crazy. But we've lost topic. We'll come back to that one because I do have a lot of feelings on education.
We will do a special education episode for sure.
We have to.
Yeah, I'm down for that. I'm down for that.
But in general, immigration and the issues that are coming up now in the government, they're all saying the same thing. Nobody really knows what to do. They're all just going around in circles with it. It remains a hot topic. It was a hot topic the last time the election was. This will be the same again.
I think with regards to illegal immigration, this is what we should do.
Izzy, we can't kill people.
Oh, well in that case, no.
If I can't murder the octogenarians, there's no way you're going around killing people.
I think they should have boats out there, waiting to pick people up, help them graciously onto the boats, and then sail back to France and drop them off on the beach.
Okay, but what of the French? And diplomatic relations?
Well, they're coming from France, so sort it out, deal with that. Have a conversation with the French.
And as it is, we're no longer in the EU anyway. So I don't know. I feel like that's the other thing, that the other big issue I have with immigration, because when Brexit was happening and it was campaigning for what to do and we were supposed to be taking control of our borders and all the rest of it. And I'm wondering, where's that control? Because I think I missed that in the news bulletin. The internet didn't tell me where the control is, and I'm unsure. Enlighten me. Where's this control? Where's this control, Nigel Farage? Where is this control that we should be taking back? We've not done anything with it.
Yeah, because the Tories are shit.
And we've just not done anything.
That's because the Tories are shit. We need a new government.
Yeah, we need a new Bill of Human Rights. Because I believe in human rights, and I believe in people's rights to do things, but I also believe that there is a right way and a wrong way. And the way that immigration in this country is going, it's such a bigger drain on the system, because it's everything that goes along with keeping someone alive. I mean, we live in a small town in the northwest. They've moved a lot of the boat migrants into this small town, and they've taken over a lot of the hotels that we have in this small town. There are now places in this small town that you won't be able to go to after dark. Look at Malmo.
Yeah.
Look at Malmo in Sweden. They've now got one of the highest crime rates.
Second highest
Rate in Europe. They've gone from practically zero crime. And I'm not trying to say that it's all the migrants and all the rest of it. That's ridiculous. What I'm trying to say is that when people come into a country and they don't have the same culture, they don't take up the same they don't have the same aspects of the social contract there's always going to be this area because people tend to group together. That's what ghettos are. It's people group together who have common cultural aspects. That's what it is. And unfortunately, that's what we're seeing right now.
And it's a natural thing as well. It's a natural thing for people to want to group together.
Because if you don't speak English, you're going to want to speak to somebody that speaks the same language as you. Because
that's another thing. They should introduce a language test. If you want to come to this country, you need a language test.
If you want to be naturalised in this country, you have to do a language test. But it's a different thing to be here, hold a different passport and still be here, because you can do that. It's about being here, being part of the social contract, and part of that is learning the language.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if you want permanent right of stay in the UK, you need to do a language test. If you want a visa,
that's the case anyway. If you have permanent right to stay in the UK, you need a language test anyway. Do you not remember when I was going through naturalisation because of this?
Oh no, that's getting a passport.
No.
I'm not on about citizenship. I'm not on about citizenship. I'm on about things like if you getting like dependents, people that are coming over long term.
They also need to learn. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
They do not need a language test as far. They do not, because I speak to people that clearly don't speak a word of English.
No idea. Fact check me. Fact check this.
I'm pretty sure that because Priti Patel said we need a language test. We need to do an Australian basis.
It's England. For God's sake, English. It's all in the name.
Yeah, but why would somebody from Afghanistan who's never who they clearly don't get a lot of English tourists, why would they learn English?
Because you're here in order to get through
but that's what I'm
regular
saying.
Services. I don't think that we should be. There is a difference though, because in much of the Western world, you can get translators, you can all of those things to make people feel comfortable. So all of those things. But I think after a while, if you're here for more than a year, then you should be able. You should.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. But the main thing we need to do is cut down on the number of people coming here by a substantial amount.
I just don't get the appeal.
You don't understand why somebody living on less than $1 a day would want to come and move to the UK and sit in a council house on benefits. You don't understand that. I get it.
I guess I look at it a little bit less cynical than that. But yeah, I get that.
Of course people want to come here. It's one of the best countries in the world.
Is it?
Yeah.
I live here, so it is what it is.
It's got the added benefit of the fact that everybody, as you said, that's not what I was going to say. As you said earlier, everybody speaks English. It is the international language. So a lot of people are going to naturally want to come here. That's why you get so many Algerians going to France, right? Because they speak French.
Mm-mm. Well, Britain should have thought about this before they colonised the world. So this is just reaping what they sow, really.
So there's loads of positive reasons why people would want to come to the UK.
Yeah, and like I said, they're just reaping what they sow because they went to loads of countries, destabilised them, and now this is exactly what we're getting.
I'm not convinced. I think leaving is what destabilised them, personally.
Comeuppance is what... Yeah, I'm not going to touch that. I will leave that for another day.
Put it in the notes.
I will because I'm never going to forget that you said that. So I'm going to hold this forever. We didn't mention a big thing, which I really, really want to talk about. And I kind of touched on it before when I was talking about the social contract, which was on the different ideological differences. Now, there is a lot of ideological differences in the world. There's loads of individuals or ideological differences, but none that are so big that they start to encroach on the rest of the public. I mean, look at Luton, Oldham, all of those places. Now, I'm not blaming this. Yeah, I'm not saying it's one group of individuals. I mean, look at Golders Green. I'm saying that there's a difference between sort of coming to a country and then putting your rules in, being in a country and then refusing.
Are we talking about Sharia law and Islam?
Yeah, but I'm not just talking about one group of people, because when I said Golders Green, that's the Jews.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? They occupy one part. And I look at the Poles, the what do you call those? There's no Irish people left in Ireland because they're all in Liverpool.
Yeah.
So, I'm not talking about one specific group, but I'm saying that the Irish come over here and they're already part of the social contract. Yeah? They already understand the understandings of what goes into making this society work. even the Jewish people of Golders Green and the ones in Manchester, and I am mentioning those places because as a group, I don't want to say they travel in packs because that sounds really bad. Yeah,
But they travel in
Well, they
packs.
travel in packs. So, you know, the ones in Manchester, you know, they also understand that there is a social contract. You can't just do certain things. There's certain things that are not going to, if you don't like it, you can just abstain, right? You can not go. Then there's places like Luton where it's not the case. It's almost become a separate part of the UK, even though it's just right there, just outside of London. And it feels different. I wouldn't feel comfortable walking through Luton at night. Look at the grooming gangs that we've had. These are not part of the social contract. We accept that
But it is in certain parts of the world.
in certain parts of the world, but this is my argument. If you've left that certain part of the world and you come to this part of the world, then you should be behaving in a way.
Garcia,
Yeah,
I 100% agree with you, but the
I
reality
100%
is
agree with me too.
they're not.
Obviously.
And simply standing there going, well, they should.
But this
Great,
is
but
where I
they're
think-
never going to, so we need to do something about that.
I know, but then the question is what? Because we don't want to be going into 1984 territory. We can't be you can't be deporting people just because
Cut
they
down
didn't agree.
on mass immigration.
Cut down on mass immigration, but that doesn't deal with the issues that we currently have. But then I also feel
Arrest
like
people for grooming gangs.
100%, and the police need to be a bit more forceful and less.
Corrupt.
The thing is,
Take Oldham East, for example. The Labour councillor of Oldham, Aju Shah, her best friend was the getaway driver for a serial killer, and she refused to denounce him. The healthcare, what's his name? He was one of the lead perpetrators for the grooming gangs, and he was the welfare officer in Oldham, right? They used to call him Daddy, right? Because he was like literally the perpetrator. The police found out about the allegations a year before they even bothered to inform the council. And the council members literally covered it up and nothing's been done about it. There's been no independent inquiry. There's been thousands of girls that have been groomed and stuff.
I also think that we need to put a pin in the problems with the police. We can come back to that because that is a topic on itself. The police, because I mean, don't let me mention Sarah Everard. I'm just gonna leave that there.
I think one person being a serial killer, they got through the system. Actually, to be fair, it was the system's fault because he had previous.
This is the police and their continuous
Because they lowered the standards to get in.
Yeah, of course
so
they did.
he slipped through the gaps, yeah. Anyway, we'll come back to that on a separate issue.
Yeah, but in terms, it's not like, the thing is, I would hate for us to go into an American system, but what a lot of people don't realise is that
Clarify what you mean by an American system.
in terms of ICE and things like that. But but we do actually have that. It's just not as well known, or we have immigration officers.
I don't see anything wrong with enforcing the laws that we have.
I don't.
What's the point of having laws?
What
if
I
you're not
don't want
enforcing
to be doing is putting people in detention. But what I was going to say is that we actually in Britain already do that. There's already that ship. I forgot what the ship is called. It has a silly name, like
where they put people on for
Boaty Mac Boatface. Was it Boaty Mac Boatface?
I've got
Was
no
that different?
idea.
Well, either way, it's got a ridiculous name, and they've put a lot of these migrants on this boat, and as such, they've all got. Is it Listeria?
But they're all illegal.
They are illegal.
Aliens.
But human rights say, this is what I'm trying to say, we're going around in circles, and this is where I understand where the government goes around in circles with it, because the Human Rights Act, 1998, 1995, whatever, the Human Rights Act is pissing me off, and it's actually stopping us from doing a lot. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have human rights. I'm saying that we need to relook at it, and we need to look at it and implement something that actually works for this country.
I'm not being funny, but people literally pay good money to go spend a couple of nights on a boat, and these people are complaining. Like, I'm not being funny, but you come into this country.
feel like it's a different kind of
It's
boat.
either a boat or the streets and taking the
I feel
boat.
like it's a different kind of boat. It's a different
At least
kind
you're
of boat.
being put up. You've broken into this country illegally. At least you're being put up.
Well, what are they supposed to do? Put them down? I didn't think that's it's not gonna work.
In a lot of countries, they go in and they just end up on the streets. At least they've got a roof over their head.
True, because
so I don't understand why
thing
they're harming they're violating their human rights. How? By giving them accommodation. It's not just because
the
they're in
fact is-
5-star accommodation. You're not entitled to 5-star accommodation.
regardless, we're putting these people up. we as taxpayers, because we already pay pretty much 50% tax in this country, we're paying for it. How much more? Because you know what we were saying before about the brain drain? Part of it is the lack of wage rises in this country.
Completely.
How
and
much
why
more?
is that? Because corporations are taking advantage of the fact that they can pay foreign workers less. Legal immigration, mass immigration.
But they can't really now because of minimum wage. Minimum wage has gone up, rightly so. But I also feel like there's just not enough. There isn't a magic money tree. They want people to generate income, but they want to punish the people that do. All the nurses and doctors that worked through the pandemic got claps and stuff, but when it came to a pay rise, the government were reluctant to do anything. All these things add to what I would describe as the way that Britain is. Britain already has a melancholy problem. I think that everybody in this country is pretty much in a baseline melancholy. But it's now getting baseline depressing because it's how much more are you going to tax us? How much more could we possibly work in order to make ends meet? We were talking before about
taxes are the highest it's been since 1948, I believe.
Ridiculous. We were talking about how much I mentioned food banks and such. There's never been a time in our history that people are using food banks more. I mean, we had the 1912 Poor Law. Is that where we're going back to now? Poor houses and having to go through that because people literally can't afford to feed
What's
themselves.
the solution? End immigration.
Get rid of the government, start again. End immigration. Just relook at these policies and make them work for the people that actually are here and are
Fix Tony
stop
Blair's shit.
Destroying the middle classes because that's where most of your taxes come from. And most professionals that are even left in the country are in the middle classes. Stop taxing us like crazy. Can't afford it. Your regular teachers, don't even get me started on teachers. We'll come back to that when we discuss the education system because I feel bad for teachers. I feel bad for nurses. I feel bad for anybody that has a job in this country. And then I often think it would be great if we could just not work. But then who's going to pay for the nanny state if we all just decided to stop working? I mean, the country was on strike for like a year and now everything's gone to shit again. So...
And which party was it? I can't remember which party. It was one of the 7-way debates I was watching. Said, we need to increase the higher rate of taxes to like 50% or something. And Nigel Farage was the only person that said, if you do this, people are just going to leave and you'll end up with less taxes than what we're going to be in a worse opposition. Like, what the hell? And I think that actually we need to be... Obviously, if you continue to put a plaster on a gaping wound, it ain't going to do shit. And that's the problem with mass immigration. You cannot talk about anything else until you've fixed the ridiculous number of people that are coming into this country. 1 in 30 people in the UK arrived in the country in the last 2 years. 1 in 30. That's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. So once you fix that issue, you can then focus on fixing other things. Like, and again, Reform is the only party that said that we need to be looking at where the money's being spent as opposed to just throwing all the money.
Izzy, get off Farage's dick. Get off Farage's dick.
Ew.
It looks like a shriveled up thumb. Get away. Get
Please
away.
forget that I said that. Though.
No, I'm keeping that in.
But no, this is the same thing we've been saying for ages, though, about the money is being spent in the wrong place. You've got one department spending money on this, the other department spending on something that is completely counter to it because they believe in a different policy. So the money itself is actually going nowhere.
But this is what concerns me about this change of government that we're going to be having, is that we're just going to be spending new money on old issues. We're going to be spending... It's the cyclical nature of this country pisses me off. Every 4 years, we go through this. Well, except for the last 14, because we've had shitty Tories. But enough of it. It's just they come in, they change their policies, they cost money, taxpayers' money, because these politicians are not paying for it. Then another 8 years passed, we come in again, spend more money to counteract those policies, like you just said, and rescind policies. And what we actually have at the end of it is nothing for the people and everything for these politicians. They all say the same things, and I'm fed up with British politics.
Yeah, this is why I think it's a good thing that Tories about to get destroyed. Destroy
hope.
the Tories, then go for Labour next.
We
Get
hope.
some more parties out, maybe do some electoral reform, who knows. No, I think there's no question about it. I think Labour are going to absolutely...
Oh, they're going to
Win.
win, but don't get me wrong, and I'd like to just make myself very clear here. I am not a fan of Starmer either.
Oh, God, no. No.
He's a smarmy slime ball.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the impression I get of him, and I'm good. He's a... What was that thing that we watched by Dominic
Frisby.
Dominic Frisby?
Captain Flippity Flop.
Yes, there's wishy-washy politics, and I'm fine with that. I don't like Sunak either. I think he looks like a rat. But outside of that, I mean, that's just my opinion on him. But outside of that, I feel like he doesn't even know what he stands for.
I understand that we don't like Starmer and Starmer's going to win and it's not fantastic, but at the end of the day, it's the best outcome because at least it shows people that if you do not do what is promised, the public is going to punish you for it. And so that's you would expect, and I'm not holding out much hope, obviously, we'd expect the Tories to learn a lesson from this. Just as you'd expect Labour to learn a lesson from the Tories.
So let me ask you, do you expect this to go the way of, do you remember back in the day, the Liberal Democrats used to be a party?
Liberal Democrats are posed to get a lot more seats this time.
They are, of course they are, because Tory's about to lose a lot. But if you remember, there was a time in this country where
they were very...
they were quite popular, and they were in government. And then after Nick Clegg came and sold out the students and the rest of the country, the public turned against him, turned against the party. And the party lost all their seats pretty much because of this broken election promise. So I guess I can see that point. That the public will punish you. But I'm wondering, at what point are the public as a whole going to come together and realise that this isn't working for us? The majority of people, this isn't working for us.
I think that will be reflected in the turnout levels for this next election.
Will you vote?
I'm going to vote.
I'll vote because I think it's my civic duty.
I think not voting is just as much of a statement as voting, and I don't hold it against people that don't want to vote. I don't agree with the Australian policy of, you have to vote by law. I don't agree with that.
I agree.
I think if you want to not vote, then you should be entitled to not vote.
But we'll cross this bridge when we come up to it, because as you heard from us, on July the 4th, there will be a general election in this country, and we will be tuned in. We'll bring you all of our best takes from it. I don't know how good they'll be with Ratty Mac Ratface and Smarmy Mac Kia.
Smarmy McSmartface.
Smarmy Kia. But yeah, so that was it. So that was our first episode of Informally Informed. That's what we've decided to go with, because let's face it, we know only so much. But yeah, okay. So to recap, your obsession with Farage is out there. Everybody knows.
I'm comfortable with that.
I'm uncomfortable. The whole thing makes me uncomfortable. We can't drop them off at France because I feel like the French would have something to say. It's like a knock and run.
Well, I say, you know what? Screw the French. My one motto in life, Garcia, as I'm sure you're well aware.
We like the French. I like the French. I guess in conclusion, all we can really do is hope that when Smarmy Keir comes in, that he actually does something about immigration.
Which he won't.
Of course not, but we can live in hope. So
no, we can't. No, we can't.
Listen, at the end of Pandora's box,
you might live in hope.
You
might live in hope. I live in reality.
Oh my god. I have hope in reality, Isabel. I have hope in reality, okay? And my hope is that Smarmy Keir will actually... Well, I'd love to say that he'd stick to his manifesto, but he keeps taking stuff back. Do you know what? I have no hope for... nah, screw it. The hope is gone.
Exactly.
Gone.
Exactly. There was no hope.
Join us next week.
Do you know what I have hope for? Do you know what I have hope for?
Oh my god. Oh, stop it
Nigel
with Farage. Join us next week when, if Izzy's still alive, because I haven't murdered her for her opinions, we'll probably be talking about the NHS. Oh.
Yes, indeed, we probably will. See you next time, folks.
Let us know if you agree or disagree with any of our views. That's the point of the conversation. Join in.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.